Hi guys. So when you talk about IVF as we know it now, vitro fertilization, there were three people involved. However, when you read most of the materials on IVF, who the founders were or the scientists were, you would see or hear only two names of two guys, right? You would hear of Robert Edwards and you would also hear of Patrick Steptoe, right? Now, who was the third person and why was this third person forgotten? The third person was John Purdy, a lady, a British nurse, an embryologist, embryologist, and a lab scientist who was also influential, right, in the groundbreaking research that birthed IVF. And the first successful IVF happened in the year 1978, yes, and that was Joy Louise Brown, right? Now, Joan Purdy, the only woman in that trio, was forgotten, right? She was forgotten. And in the year 1985, she died. She had cancer and she passed at the young age of 39. Now, fast forward, and awards were being given and recognitions were being given, for the impactful work that these scientists had done, right? These awards went to Robert Edwards, and the recognitions went to Robert Edwards and Patrick Steptoe. But Robert Edwards continued to fight that John Purdy must be recognized because she also played a crucial role. He fought for years and they kept rejecting his letters and appeals and everything that he did to try to get them to include John Purdy, the only lady in the trio, in those recognitions. He tried everything he could, but his letters were, rejected. They did not act on his appeal. Finally, in 2015, they included John Purdy's name in one of the placards, or will I say recognition, right? Guess what? She was not alive to see that because she had died in 1985. Now you do the math. How many years after her passing before she was recognized? You do the math. Why am I telling you this story? Two reasons. One, it's very, very, very important to give people their flowers when they're around. Give people their flowers when they're alive. For a good number of us, we know that we love our parents, we know that we love our siblings, we know that we love our friends. There are people in our lives that we love, our spouses, our children, but we just have this feeling that they're going to be around. Our kids are always going to be around. They're always going to be around, and then we withhold love. In those moments of conflict, we fight like they're always going to be there. If you speak to people who said mean things to their friends or colleagues or, siblings or children before they passed, they are filled with so much regret because the final words to them were mean, right? So we just live like these people will always be around. They will always be around. They will always be around. But that's not the case. It's very important. This is the first reason I told the story. It's very important to give people their flowers when they're around. Nobody knows how John Purdy would have struggled in all those years when her efforts, her sacrifices went unrecognized. In 2015, years after her passing, they finally recognized her as being part of the scientists that were instrumental in birthing IVF. But of course, she was no more. Now, the second reason I'm telling you this story is it's very important for us to be the first person or the first group of people, wherever we find ourselves, to take positive action. I'm sure before 2015, when they recognized John Purdy, there have been series of appeals and letters, especially from Robert Edwards, asking that John Purdy be recognized for her contribution in the founding of IVF, but they all went unrecognized. It took one institution to do the right thing. And today we know of Jen Purdy. In fact, there's a Netflix movie. I knew of her from the Netflix movie. There's a Netflix movie titled Joy, The Birth of IVF. I highly recommend. Very, very informative. So it takes just one person to set the ball rolling in a positive direction. Be that one person. If you find yourself in a group that you can influence your group to be that one group that takes positive action. And right after the institution included her name in the placard and everything, now we know about her. There are movies about her. We are reading about her and her contribution. I saw an article on Wikipedia saying the reason she was unrecognized was because she was just a lab scientist. And she was a woman. So I wasn't in existence as far back as 1978. So I'm not sure the cultural factors, and even professional factors that would have played, in undermining Jen Purdy's efforts and contributions to the IVF. If it's because she was a woman or just a lab scientist and all of that. But your work is super important. So be the first person. In fact, 3 points. I'm going to add a third one. Be the first person to take positive action, because you being the first person can result in a ripple effect where others start doing the right thing. Now, the third thing is whatever it is that you find to do it well. Whether you're going to be recognized or whether you're not going to be recognized, do it well. Just the lab scientist, and I'm saying just not because your work is not important, but because then they thought because she was just a lab scientist, she wasn't qualified to be recognized. So whether you're a lab scientist, you're a teacher, you're a minder, you're a cleaner, you're a security guard, whatever it is that you are, do it well. The day of your reckoning will soon come. And even if it doesn't come, that's fine. You just get satisfaction in knowing that you did the right thing. I'll give you another example. Sam, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think it's either Sam McAllister or Sam McCaster, one of them. So Sam, the lady who secured the award-winning interview with Prince Andrew for BBC. She was largely unsatisfied with her job. She wanted to do it and all, but it just felt like the environment was not really it for her. I don't know, right? I'm judging just based on the movie, right? Scoop. Yeah, you should see it. Scoop. SCOOP. Right? It tells the story of how BBC secured an interview with Prince Andrew following his association with Jeffrey Epstein, who was convicted of trafficking and having sexual affairs with underage girls and stuff like that. Now, this lady for long might not have been recognized for her work and all of that, but it took just that one moment because she continued to be diligent. Eventually, she secured for the BBC an interview with Prince Andrew when he would speak to no journalists, no media houses. She did that for BBC because she was diligent in her work. And that movie, Scoop, highlights... So I kind of like what Netflix is doing. Netflix is taking the unsung heroes in historical events and putting them in the limelight. I love that for them and for me, because I'm getting to really, really, really learn a lot. So this third point is, whatever it is that your hand finds to do, please do it well, because you never know when that recognition will come. Don't say, nobody's even seeing what I'm doing, nobody's this. No, just do your thing. Recognition or no recognition, do your thing. So to summarize again, the 3 points. Number 1, give people their flowers when they are here. Don't wait until a person is no more, like they did with Jen Purdy, God rest her soul. Give people their flowers, love upon them. Say thank you for the things that they do. If you want to take somebody out on a birthday, do it, because tomorrow is not promised. I'm sure nobody knew that maybe she would pass at the age of 39, but she did. And years after, her recognition came posthumously. Can you believe that? So give people their flowers while they are here. The second point is be the first person to cause that ripple effect for good things. Don't say, well, nobody has ever done it. If you know it's the right thing to do, it's a good, great thing to do it. You might just be the one who creates that ripple effect or that boomerang in the right direction. And the third point, whatever it is that your hand finds to do it well, regardless of your position. Do it as good as John Purdy. Do it as good as Sam McAllister of BBC at the time. So that's all for today. Yeah, this is what I just wanted to say. No biggie. Now, until when next we meet, bye and be good.
Young in love.